Now you know. Now you know. If you know, you know. The big ballers in town. Now you know. Now you know. Forget what I know them. Yes. Agbabola. How much is money?
It's nothing.
Ballin'. Premium or nothing. Now you know.
Now you know.
Now you know.
Now you know.
Forget what I know them. Yes. Undefeated, undisputed, unopposed, luxury or nothing. Money is talking, money is talking. Blessings on blessings. Forget what I know them. Yes. Agbabola.
PlayStation, Mazi, Sam, Ohuabunwa to the podium. You're welcome, sir. Please be clapping as he takes the stage.
Mazi Samuel Nyanchuku Ohuabunwa OFR stands as one of Nigeria's most accomplished pharmacists, industrialists, and public intellectuals with a career that reflects enduring principles of ethical leadership, institutional resilience, and national service. Born on August 16, 1950 in Port Harcourt, his formative years were shaped by the upheavals of the Nigerian Civil War, during which he served in the Biafran Army. Following the war, he resumed his academic pursuit at Government Secondary School, Owerri, demonstrating early determination that would later define his professional trajectory. He proceeded to the University of Ife, where he earned a degree in pharmacy in 1976, laying the scientific and the professional groundwork for his future. Seeking to broaden his leadership capacity, he later attended Columbia University, acquiring global business insights that complemented his pharmaceutical expertise in 1978. He began his corporate journey with Pivisa Product PLC as a sales representative, marking the start of a distinguished rise through the ranks. His defining moment came in 1997 when the multinational parent company opted to divest its Nigerian holdings in a bold and strategic move. Ohuabunwa led a management buyover that transformed the company into NAIP International Pharmaceutical PLC, an indigenous enterprise named in honor of his mentor, Robert NAIP. Under his stewardship as Chief Executive Officer for nearly 2 decades, NAIP evolved into a symbol of Nigeria's capacity for local pharmaceutical manufacturing and industrial self-reliance. Beyond corporate leadership, Ohuabunwa has played pivotal roles in shaping Nigeria's professional and economic landscape. He served as president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria and later as chairman of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, contributing significantly to national policy discourse. His involvement in the formulation of Vision 2010 and Vision 2020 underscored his commitment to long-term economic transformation. This advocacy culminated in his entry into the political arena, where he founded the New Nigeria Group and contested for the presidency in 2023 on the platform centered on economic restructuring and production-driven growth. In recognition of his extensive contributions, he has been decorated with multiple national honors, including Member of the Order of Niger, MON, Officer of the Federal Republic, OFR, and the National Productivity Order of Merit, NPOM. A devout Christian and Knight of St. Christopher within the Anglican Communion, he also serves as National Coordinator of the Full Gospel Business Men's Fellowship International. Married with 5 children and 10 grandchildren, Mazi Ohuabunwa remains a respected mentor and influential voice in national development, consistently advocating for a shift from a consumption-driven economy to one anchored on productivity, innovation, and self-sufficiency.
Good evening,
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Let me pay my respects to, I think, the only past president that is still in this hall, who actually is the overall chairman of today's event, our own dear brother, Azubiko. Let me acknowledge all the other very distinguished leaders of the Foreign Society of Nigeria, the chairman of ACPN, and all the members of NAIP, fellows of the society, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that this is a very uncomfortable time to make a presentation. We are thoroughly exhausted after a very long day. So, and I'm sure some people really deserve rest. So I do my best to speed this up as much as possible. And I also believe that it is fortuitous that we're taking this subject as a last today, because in a way it is an encapsulation of the key issues we discussed this morning. When the guest speaker today spoke about leadership, and that theme has been replicated in different breakout sessions. We are an underperforming nation, and that underperformance is applicable in the public sector, perhaps worse, is also applicable in the private sector. The public sector will underperform and get away with it because they are living on appropriation. But in the private sector, if you underperform, there are very grave consequences. You're working with either borrowed funds or shareholders' funds, and everyone expects a return on their funds. We also expect returns on the private and the public sector, but we can't enforce the rights. If they refuse to give us returns on our investment, on our taxing, on our revenues, we can complain. But the reason we're here and what we must take out is how do we move from an underperforming organization to that high building, but also one that can make the ability of your business. And so it's meant for success.
Process of setting clear expectations. After you set clear expectations, coaching and developing the people that you work with, setting the results, tracking performance, and at the end of the day, also measuring and rewarding it. We understand that anywhere there is not a performance, it must be that we are not following this procedure. Set clear expectations. What do we expect if you are an employee?
What is your expectation? What do you expect you to achieve in a week, in a month, in a quarter, in a year? That's the first thing. What is the expectation? Because very often the expectations are not clear, and the man who is managing may not even know what he's managing, not talk of the person who is expected to be managed. So in performance management, as it affects work in an industry, it is First, setting up what is the clear expectation. Then, coaching. It's not enough to set the expectation, but you have to coach and support your employee to. But the point here is that it is a continuous exercise. It's not a yearly appraisal. It's not a half-yearly appraisal. In the pharma industry, it is how we ensure that every person, whether you are the sales team, you are the quality team, you're in the medical team, you're in marketing, or even the support services of accounting, IT, that every employee knows what success looks like. If you say you're not successful, what does it mean? If you are successful, what does it mean? And not only that you know what it is, but you are assisted through a mentoring, coaching methodology to know how to achieve that objective. And after we have told you how that objective is to be achieved, we also monitor and track to make sure that it is achieved. And when it is achieved, our patients get safe and quality medicines and we attain our financial goals. It is fairly straightforward, but is often not followed through. Because if we do this on a regular, repeated basis, then there is the likelihood that every organization will be doing well. In short, performance management is how we make sure every person in our team knows what to do, has the help to do it well, and is recognized when they deliver. It's a continuous process. There is always a break. Sometimes people know what to do. People know what is expected, but they don't know how to do it. And the manager and the supervisor does not realize that it is his job to make sure that the person knows how to do the job you hired him for. He ought to do it. When you ask, why should he not know? He's not a graduate. Did he not say he read pharmacy? What is wrong? What is difficult in doing? That's what I've seen supervisors tell the people they supervise. And when performance comes, we start wondering. So this is where to go. And if you take it down to our country, down to every aspect of our lives, the thing is, do we have the clear expectations? Do we know what we're expected to do? Do we know how to do it? Is our performance monitored and feedback given? And at the end of the day, what do we take away? And is it in line with what our expectations are and what benefits the business? And also, as we are pharmacists and healthcare professionals, what benefits us? The key words here, the old view. Every company does a yearly appraisal. Every company that I know. But that's not performance management. This is record keeping, historical facts. But performance managers is the real job. It's a manager's daily and weekly job. It's something he does day, week, and month. It is a continuous process. That point I must keep emphasizing throughout this speech. It is aligned, individual KPIs are aligned to the team goals. Just as Dr. Avioriko, somebody showed, it has to start from the corporate goals, come down to divisional goals, come down to sectional goals, and then comes down to unit goals, and then individual goals. And they are all aligned to achieve the overall objective of the company, be they sales, be they profit, be they market share, be they new product launches, whatever it is, it must evolve from the overall vision of corporate goal down to individual. And it's important to note that performance management is a two-way approach. The managers coach, but the employees are responsible for results. Why is performance management, why does it matter in our industry? It matters for a number of reasons. But the first one is regulatory pressure. For those of us who are in regulation and in manufacturing, we know that regulatory pressure ensures that we have PCA compliance, that we have NAFDAC compliance, both GMP and pharmacovigilance. And as was said yesterday when Dr. Uko spoke, there is zero room for error in manufacturing, in quality assurance. There is zero error. We can tolerate some error in sales, but there is no error allowed in producing. You are supposed to provide and weigh 0.005 microgram. It is not 0.015 or 0.05, it's 0.005. That's why pharmacy is an exact science. We don't approximate. It's the finite figure, and it is important that performance management drives down. Otherwise, the nature of human beings is to do things that are comfortable, cut short, close gaps, cover mistakes, and pretend all is well. We can tolerate it in some places, but not in quality assurance. It is also because of market dynamics. We know that there are competitive pressures, branded and generic products in the market. So everybody must perform to keep his brand or product at the top of the bill and achieving expected outcomes, market shares, visibility, and presence. And at the end of it, return the right volumes and the right profit. Because it's all about business. Business is such that it cannot, a business is important that the business is able to be sustainable. And the sustainability comes from the ability to invest resources and get a return, and be able to reinvest and get a return. And then in the process, we are rewarding all the stakeholders, all those who have played a role to ensure that that production process and marketing and distribution continues. The moment there is a breach, then there's a problem. If you cannot pay the banks, there's a problem. If you cannot pay your suppliers, there's a problem. If you cannot pay the employees when their salaries are due, there's a problem. If you cannot meet regulatory requirements, there's a problem. So this is why all managers must be on their feet, and the instrument they have to get the job is to make sure there is a continuous performance management. And it goes from one level to another level to another. If everybody and his superior is relating well in terms of keeping the agreements of what you expect me to do, have you given me the tools to do them? Have you told me how to do them? Then I go and deliver. When I deliver, you measure that I've delivered, and there's a reward or a punishment. Because our inability to proceed and do better is sometimes you do know the difference between those who are performing and those who are not performing. Everybody is treated equally. The other is the talent reality, high demand for skilled medical sales reps, quality assurance and production staff. And then the bottom line, as I just spoke, the need to pursue performance management is that we need sales growth, product quality, patient safety, corporate value creation, and stock market performance. If you work for a company whose shares are quoted on the exchange, every quarter there's a stock exchange fever, because we're going to submit the reports, our sales, our performance report to the stock exchange, and the people in the country who are investors and outside the country will see your performance, and that will affect not only your share prices, stock prices, but even the ability of you to get more money from either the stock market or from the money markets. So let us look at what I call the details of performance management. What are the different segments? What is the process? It's just a simple process, but it's repetitive. The first is set clear expectations. Set clear expectations. Define your KPIs in terms of sales, in terms of expense ratios, in terms of call rates. Whatever are important for reaching your goals, you must set them out. When I used to be a sales manager, often I would go on joint calls with my reps, and the first thing I ask them, how is business? And I don't know what is an automatic answer. Very often somebody says business is fine. I say, well, that's great. What percentage of your budget target have you met? Then he says 40%. I say, business is fine, and you are the more the person tells me that, I don't wonder that he doesn't know his target. If business is at 40, you say it is fine. Okay, what will you say when the business is at 70% or 80%? So often, this is where we miss it. And sometimes there's a group target. We intend to achieve this goal, but what is your own specific part of that goal? We have a national or corporate goal. What is your own? Do not leave anybody guessing. Then, of course, there's also behavioral standards. There are behavioral standards because we set goals not only in the KPI but also in indicators. What shows that we're on the way to achieving the routes. The second one is you coach and support. Conduct weekly meetings, deploy formal training plans, execute field coaching, and active problem solving opportunities for you and your direct reports. That's the next one. The third is, of course, review progress. Review progress. Maintain a data-driven approach. Hold monthly, quarterly media reviews. Emulate all end-of-year surprises. People ought to know where they are at the end of every month, at the end of every quarter. So, at the end of the year, in my experience, I found people resign from work when I haven't asked them to resign. It's because at the first end of quarter one, I'll call you and say, how far? And you can see you're not doing well. And I'll ask you, what do we need to make you do better? Because we cannot continue this way. Of course, at the end of quarter two, if you are still where you are, I'll ask you, do you want me to leave the job or you leave? Because there is no surprise. You know what I expect of you. If it is me that is failing, then let me know where I'm failing. Is this something I'm supposed to give you? Because sometimes a rep may not have a car. What have I provided an alternative transport mechanism? If I don't, then I'm not helping him, and I cannot hold him responsible for his performance alone. And phase 4, as I said, is recognize and develop. You dispense instant or deferred rewards linked to performance. Those rewards can lead to career prospects, or you deploy other performance improvement plans when they are below expectation. There must be a plan to move them to the next level, and if they cannot move to that next level, like they showed low potential and low performance, it's clear that they have no space in the organization. You either put them in a different department or send them elsewhere. This is just some example of how you can set up your KPIs so that the person, your rep, or depending on what department they are, know what you expect of them. Medical sales reps, some leading indicators will be their call per day. Doctor call in Pfizer, we used to have doctor calls, physician call, pharmacy call, retail outlet calls, and distributor call. Then you do some joint programs and so forth and so on. There are many things that are lined out to enable you. If you are in production, quality assurance, CAPA completion, the training compliance, then in supply chain, forecast accuracy, and vendor leading indicators. And you can look at the lagging KPIs to know what about territory sales versus target. Is it 50% or lower? Doctor coverage, what you are achieving versus target. Prescription growth, what is the expectation? That basis says 10%. Territory sales growth is 50%. Formulary wins through debt recoveries. These are indicators. When you're looking at the manufacturing, look at batch success rate, deviation from closure time, etc. Supply chain, stock out rate shouldn't be more than 1%. Price gains of $200. On-time delivery to customers, minimum return 10%. These are specified clearly. The Bible says, write the vision that whoever reads it can run with it. In performance management, this is the focus. Make sure that people work for you in any department. One of the things I have always said is that there is no job that cannot be measured. It's just for you to set up the metrics. You can measure your job, your driver's job, the gate man's job, the security man. Everybody should have some KPIs in an organization. Because a lot of people do not even, and in some organizations, even if you're not in sales and marketing, you're not in the business side, your admin, HR, your objectives are also linked to the business objectives. 40% of your assessment is linked to the business objectives. 60% is linked to your everyday operations. Because if we are not all linked to the business objectives, that's why some people say it doesn't matter. I'm not concerned. If you saw the question I asked the lady that spoke yesterday about the skills, the soft skills for regulatory people, because you need to, the regulatory person must adapt and understand what the sales person is speaking about, because all of them have a common objective to achieve the outcome, either in sales or profit at the end of the day. No matter what else you do, if you cannot translate it to sales, to profit, to market share, then we haven't done much. Everything else is directed to getting a place in the marketplace and getting exchange for the product you sell. So, in the Nigerian context, there are few challenges which every person must also know how to integrate it into the performance management. Take for example, in the issue of forex and import costs. This is a major driver of cost. So what do you do in ensuring that that is dealt with? You have to develop a strategy that focuses on high margin products, SKUs, and promote local brands. Because in a situation where we have a forex and import expensive, contributing to cost, you can't be selling products that have low margins. That will be misplacing the priority. You must focus on high margin SKUs. For example, you also have challenge we do find in the field, which access to target healthcare practitioners. For many reasons, target healthcare professionals may not be met, may not be easily seen. So you must design a strategy to help you do so. And some of the strategies include digital detailing, peer-to-peer webinars, value-added services, and third-party references. This we began to use a lot from COVID, but now it's becoming regular because there are some physicians that are key, but you may find it difficult to see them, except use webinars or virtual communications or get their peers to speak to them. And then you have team motivation and the other things that you see there. This is to say that the manager has what we call the 5 weekly habits of every manager that is managing men. He must devote a one-on-one 30 minutes weekly or bi-weekly check-ins to track progress, resolve blockers, and encourage the staff. That's the primary. This is daily or weekly, 30 minutes, at least once a week. You call them. If they are reps, if they're outside your location, give them a call, send them a text, send them an email. How are you doing? How are we doing? How are we moving in line with our objectives? Do you have any problem? Are you confronting any challenges? So if there is anything, can solve it. Then all people must have an opportunity to do field coaching. You set examples. You help them to see more difficult customers, more difficult clients, solve certain problems. It may mean seeing a minister, seeing a head of department or a professor. It is important that you find time to do joint calls with your reps per month. Coach their behavior, not just the final result. Then, feed time, real-time feedback. Behaving on reinforcing positives. Address execution gaps instantly. Often, some people are, I don't want to say they are miserly with compliments, but the training you have is that just like your child who is trying to work, the moment he shows signs of working, encourage him or her, and that gives him or her the impetus to put some effort. So also in every aspect of management, learn to encourage your people. Say nice things to them when they have done well, so that when you criticize them for not doing well, there's a balance. But I just find some managers, somebody has done well, they are frowning. And when you say this, you say, but is he not supposed to do it? But when he fails, that's when you remember that he has failed. It's a wrong way to manage and get the best out of people. Encourage them. If they've not done well, tell them they've not done well. If they've done well, tell them they've done well. And why you think they have done well or not done well. Data before drama. Today, we don't want you to just make comments. Present the data. What is your achievement? What did you agree was your sales? What was your sales call? Number of calls per week, per month. Where are we now? Present the data. Then you can then make your comments. So no opinions without factual backing, because it's demotivating for somebody to have done well and you come accusing him for not doing what he ought to do, and then he begins to prove that he has done, and I say, okay, now I know. No, you ought to know, or you start with asking a question. Don't pass the judgment before you get the facts. Then develop or exit. This area where we also fail, we allow people too much lax. Focus on developing people, but there's a point where you get and the people have to be reassigned to another job or asked to exit. But what is important is that when people are doing well, you give them stretch projects, give them something more challenging. If they are not doing well, do a 60-day performance improvement program with support. If they fail, reassign or exit them. These are some of the pitfalls in performance management, which managers and supervisors must always look out for. Number one is what we call set and forget targets. People set targets and they forget to what they even forget what they asked you to do, or they are unable to follow up. So supervisors and managers, you must make sure that you do not fail to review targets quarterly, because when you do so, you disconnect from reality. So do not set targets or give assignments and forget. Number 2 is rating everyone average. I made that comment earlier on. If you rate everybody average, it demotivates your star players. Star players live on their ego. They live on praise. They live on reward. And the moment you stop, so they deflate. So your star players, keep praising them, keep rewarding them, keep recognizing them. Just sometimes they don't need money. It could just be the way you talk to them, inviting them out to lunch, to dinner, and coming to have lunch with you. Even in their own home, they regard it as a word of recognition, and it puts them on. Those who are not doing well should know. Don't leave them in, don't discourage them, but let them know they are not meeting your expectations, and there are consequences. The other is also focusing only on lagging indicators. You are focusing on last month's sales. Please, last month's sales, you can't do anything about it. Track daily preparation. Are they having calls preparation? Do they have proper coverage training? Because preparation accentuates opportunity. They say when preparation meets opportunity, they call it luck. Most people that are successful is preparation. That this conference is going well, I need to let you know the amount of preparation Bank and his people have put to this conference, even to get to where we are. Preparation accentuates success. So please ensure that your men inculcate the idea of preparing. We used to teach people to prepare for calls. As a young rep, I'll prepare my presentation and I go to the mirror and I'll stand before the mirror and detail to the doctor, or especially when I'm going to see a senior doctor. And I'm able to see my mistakes and deal with fright. But people who don't prepare, they just walk up, no third party support, no detail aid, no such, they just walk in, and of course, doctors are even busier now, more difficult to see, except you're only looking at house officers and such people. Then avoid the tough conversation. Again, this is why we have issues. Let us not avoid the tough conversation. Tolerating poor performance actively hurts the patient, demoralizes the team, and damages the business. So there's no reason why we should tolerate poor performance. You are the motivation of other members of the team, especially when they see, because that's what's happening to our country. People are not doing well, nothing happens. Ministers are not performing, they stay for 8 years. People are given responsibilities, they just hang on there and they don't see what they're doing. The rest of the country is demotivated, other people can't be encouraged to do well. Move, this is not going. Now let us just go on, link performance. This is our suggestion. Performance management is how we can earn trust for headcount, budgets, and promotions. The more you do well, the more you are getting better budgets. The more you do well, the more you are open to promotion. So among your performance, among your staff, the top 20 who are doing well, this is how you can keep them on. You give them bonuses, fast track the promotion, get them to attend conferences like this or external conferences abroad, and then train them abroad. That is the top 20. You keep them moving because that gives them hope that what they are doing, the efforts they are making, the sacrifices they are, risks they are taking, and it's being understood and rewarded by the company. Then the middle 20, this is where you apply the merit increase and apply skill-based training and begin to expose them to a project. But the bottom 20, clear performance improvement plan. They must have a plan to improve within a 90 or 60-day period. And thereafter you train them, reassign them, or exit them. This is important to maintain a high performance team. I believe that everybody here should have a 90-day action plan. Every manager here, especially those that are managing sales reps or marketing staff or QA staff at the primary level, develop a 90-day action team where you will live here and go back and start a proper performance management procedure with your team. That's what I'm saying here. Move on. Now, as I begin to wind down, because I told you I'll make this as short as possible, let us look at handling underperformance. This is important. The policy here is clear: that it should be firm, it should be fair, and it should also be compliant. The first thing to manage underperformance is what? Spot it early. Spot it early. They say the day, the money shows the day. Do not wait for the end. How do you spot it? The red flags, missed KPIs. If 2 months running, they are missing their targets. There are quality deviations. The healthcare professionals or customers or distributors are giving complaints. They are not attending promptly to meetings or to issues. Then that begins to show there's a problem. Within the first 2 months, in the pharma area where we operate, the rule is that if there is a patient safety on that issue, there is zero tolerance. You must escalate immediately. You must escalate for perhaps even the maximum response. Often we are blind, or we are just being nice. Being nice is okay, but remember that the idea is to make sure not only that the staff is working to optimal level, but that we are delivering service and value to our customers, and that we also protect the interest of the shareholders. Number 2, when you see this problem early, diagnose it. What is the cause? What is the root cause? Ask. Don't assume. Don't assume. Don't assume. Ask. Find out what the problem is. It could be one or two things. It could be skill or it could be will. Skill is that the guy really doesn't know how to do the work, how to handle objections, how to deal with people in different categories of the hierarchy of either of a hospital or a health management system, or how to deal with people who are in regulation, or how to deal with the people in whatever department or division they are working. That is the skill. The other is the will. So if it is the skill, what would you do? Train. Build a plan to develop them. Teach them skills, just as we are trying to do in this conference and in other training programs you undertake. If it's a will thing, a will is related to your will, your own attitude, your own behavior, your willingness to take risk, how you take responsibility, your commitment. Then you need to look at their motivation, and you must be clear in explaining to them that you have a choice. My desire for you is that you grow in this business. That's what I wish, that you grow. But you know, for you to grow, the rate at which you are growing may not be the way that will lead you there. So what do we do to speed you up? So if it is attitude, if it's a system issue, as I said earlier on, feed the system. Why is he not doing well? Is it there's no stop? If there's no stop, he can't meet his target. Is it because the territory is too large and he doesn't have the kind of card that will make him cover the territory? Try and find out what the problem is. Is it that he has poor working tools, as I say, no automobiles or whatever? You try and fix it. Because these are the things to help him. This is the help we are talking about. Helping him to do his work well, to meet your expectations. This is the point. But as we've said, the easier one to deal is with skill. If the matter is attitude or behavior, sometimes it's much more difficult. It takes more time to be able to deal with them. The third step is the three-step conversation. The three-step conversation is, first is, your quarter one sales is at 68% versus target. Your core rate is only 4 against 8. We agree. Why? What should we do? The step 2 is listen. After you confronted him with his performance, listen. What's making it difficult? What support do you need? At the end of that, you have an agreement. How do we move from here to where I want you to be? So you set up specific action, time ice, when do we check again, and document the agreement. So that it's an agreement between you and him. So there's no denial. He cannot accuse you of bias. It's not because you're not from my own sound of time or sound of country, or you're not my own religion. Because this is coming a lot in Nigeria, even business environment. When people are not doing well, they look for mundane reasons to explain. But when you go through this type of performance and documented reviews, that bias is often removed. Number 4 is now put a performance improvement plan. That's what's called PIP. Every person, every employee in every department can have a performance improvement plan. And usually we say it should be a 60 to 90 days plan. If the complaint is about safety issues, then it should be shorter. It must include clear metrics. How do we know you are moving from where you are to where you want it to be? What support that is provided, and how often do we check? Often you need to bring HR, especially when the performance is a little bit tardy and repeated, poor performance. You bring HR to sign up, looping HR to ensure PIP aligns with Nigerian labor laws plus also company policy. This is important to be sure that you are being systematic and at the same time driving to achieving the goals that we're expecting. Now, of course, we say there are certain non-negotiable. There are certain things that are what? Non-negotiable. Number 1 is data integrity or GMP breaches. So if a staff is involved in falsifying data, what is the improvement plan? Can we make any improvement plan? No. Once you can't improve your way through fraud, if you have that tendency of falsifying data, falsifying record, then it means you have crossed the line. Okay? More so if it is something relating to safety of products. So immediate investigation, possible suspension cannot PIP your way out of falsified records. 2, unethical promotion. 1 strike policy, report to compliance. If you're involved in unethical promotion, it's against the will of the company. Larry Ballard knows when we work for Pfizer, I as CEO, every year I have to sign a covenant with Pfizer that I'm not going to bribe anybody in Nigeria to get a business. That was why when we had problems with import licensing, we couldn't get import license, we couldn't bribe. What took us to Kano was that people wanted us to bribe them to allow us to do clinical trials. We refused to bribe. Then they say they went and carried out a campaign against the company because we need to sign. It's better you don't do the business than involved in unethical practice. That's the training, and that's what we have carried through by the grace of God. For sales reps, if health care practitioners' access is lost due to misconduct, recovery is near impossible, so you need to act fast. You need to know how your managers or reps are relating to our customers, how they are relating to our doctors, how they are relating to all the clients, all the stakeholder groups. Because you'll be thinking that the matter is from here, maybe the matter is from another end. Caring is not keeping a poor performer. It's not. Caring is giving clarity, support, and a deadline. That's what caring is. Letting him know what the problem is and offering the best help you can, and then agreeing that if this thing is not done between this day and that day, we have to review this matter. This relationship has to be reviewed, because you don't want me to lose my job first. My own boss is waiting for me, and your own performance affects my own performance. If I continue to report poor performance every quarter, my boss is going to take me out. Now, what do you want me to do? Wait for my boss to take me out, or do you want to be taken out first? These are negotiation tools. But don't let him be, in companies, except there's a grievous conduct, a manager you must know where you stand with your manager, and you know he's helping you and want you to do well. The team, the patients, and the company deserve A-level players, not people who are unable to rise up to the occasion. That you come with a low knowledge is no problem. You come with a low competence is not the problem. But the problem is that you remain with low knowledge after 1 month, 2 months. You continue to be low competent. After we have tried to give you skills, then it's clear that we are not together. Ladies and gentlemen, my final note. Performance management is equal to patient outcomes plus business growth in a sustainable manner, because we are dealing with medicines. We are healthcare, we produce healthcare products. So when we evaluate ourselves and our staff, the first thing is patient outcome, because if you make products that do not help patient outcomes, if you sell health commodities that do not help patients to get well, then you have wasted everybody's time. So the principal thing is positive patient outcomes and then business growth. We are not managing forms. You know, in HR appraisals, forms are being filled. In performance management, it's not forms we are managing. We are managing people who ensure Nigeria gets safe, effective metrics while rewarding stakeholders for their investment and ensuring true sustainability. I want to thank you for your attention.
How much is money?
It's nothing.
Balling. Premium or nothing.